Welcome to another episode of the Petrochemical Diary. Today I'll be looking at floating storage and offloading units in petroleum storage. My name is Isle and I'm a student studying petrochemical engineering. So let's dive into it. What is floating storage and offloading unit? A floating storage and floating unit is a converted oil tanker or purpose-built ship that is designed to receive, store, and offload crude oil produced for offshore oil and gas field. Now, what is offshore oil production? Remember, we have two types of oil production, which is offshore and onshore. The offshore oil production is the production of oil in a water body, while the onshore oil production is the production of oil in land. Now, this equipment, the floating storage and floating unit, it is used in offshore oil production, which is the production of oil in a water body. Now, what is it used for? It is used to store crude oil in situations where pipelines are unavailable. Remember, in the production of oil in water body, there is no pipeline. There is no pipeline. No, in the situation where pipelines are unavailable, this floating storage and floating unit is used to store the crude oil, then to transport the crude oil to onshore, which is transporting it to pipeline or storage tank. Now we look at the floating units. Floating unit generally refers to offshore. Like I said, it is built in a ship vessel used for oil and gas extraction, while offloading storage is the process of transferring the stored product for the floating unit to another vessel. When the crude oil is stored for a while in the floating storage and floating unit, where it's stored for a while, it is then transported to a pipeline or any tank that is available. And the floating storage and floating unit play a vital role in the upstream and midstream sector of petroleum storage and transportation, especially where pipelines are unavailable or economical. So there are some various components of a floating storage and a floating unit. These components are the characteristics of this equipment used in the offshore oil production facility. Now, one of them is hull and storage system. The hull is the main structure of the floating storage and floating unit, providing buoyancy and support for the storage tanks and other equipment. Now, this hull and storage system is strengthened and it provides buoyancy and support for the storage tank. They are divided into four, which is ship-shaped hull. It provides buoyancy and stability. Storage tanker. The storage tank are large cargo tanks designed to hold crude oil or other petroleum products and are typically constructed of steel or other durable material. Let's look at other components, which are offloading and export system. The offloading system includes the equipment and piping necessary to transfer oil from the floating storage and offloading units. Remember I said when the crude oil is stored for a while in the floating storage and floating units, it is later transported to a pipeline, to an available pipeline or available tanker. With this offloading and export system, it includes the equipment and piping necessary to transfer oil for the floating storage and the floating unit to a tanker. They are divided into four major parts, which are the pumps. The pump moves crude from storage tank to aceto tank. So this pump is move the crude oil for the storage tank to aceto tank. Aceto tank is just a tank we use in our onshore oil production. It's used to store crude oil. Meter system is used to measure oil transfer. When the oil is transferred into the aceto tank, it's used to measure the amount of oil transfer. The loading arm or floating hose is used to transfer oil to aceto tanker. Let's look at other component of floating storage and floating units, which are mooring and position system. The mooring and position system secure the floating storage and floating unit to the sea floor or a fixed structure, ensuring stability and safety. So this mooring and position system ensures stability and safety of the floating storage and floating units. They are divided into TD, which are dynamic positioning system. The dynamic positioning system uses thruster for station keeping, especially in deep water. We have anchor chains or station pipes. We have torrent mooring system, and we have safety and control system. The safety and control system, they are divided into major parts, which are firefighting system. We have emergency shutdown system, gas detection and alert system, lifeboats, lifeguard and safety equipment. Now let's look at this vessel, the floating storage and floating unit. This is the diagram. As I said, it is built in a ship-shaped vessel. It's built in a ship-shaped vessel, and you can see here this is water body, which is, like I said, it's an offshore oil production. This is water body, and this is the floating storage and floating units that is used to store the crude oil, and the crude oil is being processed here. So let's look at some major parts of this component. Look at various components of this equipment. Now, number one, here we have mooring system. The mooring system keep the floating storage and floating unit in place, ensuring stability and safety, like I said before. And then we have mooring line. The mooring line, it connects the floating storage and floating unit to the mooring system, maintaining its position. Then we have our riser, which is also called flow lines. It connects the subsea pipeline to the floating storage and floating unit, allowing oil to flow in and out. So it allows oil to flow in and out of the floating storage and the floating unit. So we have our storage tank. The storage tank holds crude oil or petroleum products in large quantity. Then we have our top side, which is called production facility. It's like a assist equipment for processing, treating, and storing hydrocarbon. So we have our offloading facility. The offloading facility transfer store oil for the floating storage and floating units to tanker or pipeline. So the offloading facility is used to transfer crude oil for this equipment, which the floating storage and floating units, to a tanker or a pipeline. So we have seen this equipment used in the offshore oil production of crude oil in a water body. And this equipment, I said, is used to store and used to process crude oil in a water body where pipeline or tanker are all available. Now, when it is stored here temporary, and being transported to a storage tank or any available pipeline. Thank you for watching Petrochemical Diary. Please like and subscribe. Click the share button to hear more of this. Thank you very much.